the Off-Grid family. Today we're on part 4 of how to make a wind turbine. Last week you saw me salvage lots of bits and pieces that seem to make no real difference to the project, but I'll show you how they are going to get used and, you know, the importance of them. So I think basically let's get straight into building what we can. Okay, so these are the bits we've either salvaged, begged, borrowed or bought. And today I'm going to go through everything and I'm going to start attaching it together and, you know, see if it works, because you're seeing the first time I'm properly putting it together. I've put it together many times in my head, but never actually physically in real life. So these are the two bits of plastic that I got from the treadmill, like the back of the treadmill screen. And these are for connecting to our little pivot. This will be where we mount the wind turbine. And what this allows us to do is connect our swivel thing here. Look, this actually will allow us our wind turbine to spin as many times as we like without the wires getting all tangled. They've got little brushes inside here. Now this is supposed to be 240 volts, but the wire is literally as wide as a hair kind of thing. So I'm going to test it and see what happens. We may just have a little bit of a smoke, the magical smoke of doom, and then nothing at all. But, you know, it's worth a try. I honestly believe a cheap Chinese part for, you know, its rating, so that's fine. So what I did, I've got it. So the hole we drilled last week, this will go down inside, you see. So this first, then this. I'll show you why the plastic's important in a sec. What this allows is the actual piece that spins is now not touching anything. So it'll actually be able to spin freely without the wires all tangling up. The next thing I did was I made a second bracket, hang on, which I didn't work out which way round it went, so that's clever. Let's put it down. Okay, just trying to get all the holes to line up. So there we go. And now I'm going to quickly screw this all together just to show you in two corners what I'm talking about. Okay, so there we go. I've had to put some washers in because I didn't have any screws down here that were big enough. But basically, as you'll see now, I'm holding the wires and it will spin without the wires tangling, because this here is it's called a slip ring. And it just means that this can now turn freely, and this will be the actual wind turbine spinning like this, and these will be the power cords going down to the battery, down to the electronic bits and bobs. So now the next bit I want to set up is the wind turbine actual, you know, the actual blades and everything, and that's what these bits are for. Now these are just the bits I cut from the washing machine, well, a piece of old scrap from the washing machine, and then I drew a circle. Can we get that in? Yeah. And I drew another circle around a point, and I measured in degrees. Now obviously a circle is 360 degrees. I had 3 blades, so I divided it by 3 and did it like that, you see. Right, so basically this will go down like that. One set of blades will go here, here and here, and then this will go on the top and clamp it all together. And I don't see any problems, but you know, as I say, first time putting it together, you can see if I've made complete silly mistakes or whatever. I much prefer to give an honest reaction, so you guys can see if I've absolutely messed it up or whatever, you know. So get some screws. Okay, now the screws I'm going to use in this, any screws at the moment, but I'm going to cut them all down to the right sizes and stuff. And I haven't come up with I haven't come up with a definite way I'm going to be connecting this all to the actual motor. I've got quite a few different ways, but I haven't decided 100% on one particular one yet. Okay. Now I've just realised how fiddly this is going to get because I've got to get all the things in first. And these aren't all the same length, which is handy. If I take that out, there you go. Right, not for any particular reason at all, but they've got smaller bolts in the centre than outside. There is honestly no reason. I've just done it like that, and these aren't even going to be the bolts I'll be using. I just am at this precise second. Oh, that one's going to need screwing in. Happy days. Take that one out then. Does that one need screwing in too? Yep, that one's going to be a pain. Does that one? Yeah. Oh, good. So the only one that doesn't need screwing in is the top one, which is the one I put in first. Okay. So. How? Could they get hot? Okay, one. You goof. Okay. Again, this is just a test. I'm not going to be these won't be the bolts I'll be using. This won't be I will be using this set of plates if it works. If it doesn't work, obviously I will not be. It's not the right way around. Right. Now these bolts I've got were all supposed to be the same size, but I literally have to go through the whole packet because they are off by a few millimeters and absolutely rubbish. You get quite good at eyeing up which ones are the right size, but they're just off by a millimeter in some cases. And as I say, they were all supposed to be the same size. Now I'm not going to tighten these too tight, just tight enough so that they're not going to wobble about. And then we'll go and test them. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a test platform up and running, and we'll go on out and test this outside. Bearing in mind it is summer in Wales at the moment, so I will have to put on, you know, some decent suntan lotion, but we'll get out there, we'll do a quick test. If it's too bright for the camera out there as well, then, you know, I can edit it down a bit, but, you know, just forgive me, you know, it is summer in Wales, so there's nothing much I can do about that. Okay, so like I said, we're in the middle of summer, so obviously it's super bright out here and not rainy at all. I'm holding it, basically this is just stuck to the shed. There's nothing I can do about like turning it towards the wind at the moment, but I've aimed it sort of towards the wind and I'm just gonna let it go. And it's not too windy today, but hopefully, yeah, it'll be windy enough. Now that is just metal on metal, there's no bearings or anything holding that in yet. So there is a lot of friction. Oh god, but that's definitely working. How am I going to stop that? Okay, so that works. Okay, I've got to admit now, I am a lot happier with that than I thought I'd be. It's not actually that windy out there, and I only was able to place it sort of in the right direction because of the way my shed is positioned. I couldn't actually face it towards the wind how I would have liked, and it went off like a rocket, you know, which is absolutely wonderful. So now the next few things I've got to do, apart from pat myself on the back and be proud, the next few things I've got to do, I need to sand these down to the exact shapes I want. I just need to cut the ends down a bit and do a little, just nothing major, just a little bit more more aesthetic work on them, I suppose. And then I'm going to spray the tips of them red, or a colour I can find. I need to spray this, I need to sand this all down, and then I need to spray that any colour I can find. That is just for rust proofing. If I was to leave it like this, it would be rusty within a few days. So that's that section, what I need to do next. This works alright, you know, as I say, the wires turn around and, you know, they don't tangle themselves up, whatever. But, I now need to figure out a way of connecting the motor onto this bit. This bit will be the bit that connects to a post, and the motor is going to be here. So I was originally going to have the motor in this, and then this drilled through somehow. But I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing yet. So I'm going to go away, think about that, and get back to you. I've gone backwards and forwards with ideas, and I think I've come up with the one I'm going to do. I'm going to have this pivot point in the relatively close to the centre, but more to the back. And then the motor is going to be more to the front so that it doesn't interfere with any of this stuff. And then where the fin goes off that, you know, catches the wind and turns it, I'll make sure it's weighted so that this whole thing is then equally balanced. And I think that's what I'll do. So my next job then will be to drill some holes that correspond to the holes here and figure out how I'm connecting this to this. And I do think it will be one of these. So I'm thinking about drilling a hole through one of these, and then I can just connect it to the side, possibly. I'm at the point now where it's, if I make a mistake, it's not a problem, but it might cost me a lot more time if I make mistakes now than if I made them at the beginning. Okay, I've decided I'm definitely going to be placing the motor in here and this in here, etc. Like I said, it's time I need to start making decisions. So what I've done is I've marked where I want my hole. I'm going to drill that out. I need to cut a bit of this off, and then basically this will sit in here, the motor will go in, and then I can tighten it up in place. Well, that's the plan. So I'm just going to clamp this down with a bit of dowel, I think, and then cut through it, or something. I haven't decided how I'm going to do this yet. I'll figure something out. Right, that's completely not the right shape. So, bit of bending again. And then in here, it needs a big bit of filing now. So I'll do that, then bend it to shape. Okay, so that's got rid of the nasty bits this side. Now let's start trying to straighten it out. I don't want to do too much bending because I don't want to end up weakening the metal any more than I have to. So, you know, I've already drilled a big blinking hole through it. Okay, that'll do. Next thing I need to do is cut this off. Oh, that was easy enough. I just twisted it back and forth with a pair of pliers quickly, and off it went. Happy days. Okay. Now I need to unscrew it a bit, because I screwed it in quite a bit to drill the hole, so I'll do that first. So that just fits on there, but obviously it's going to be a screw as well, so I need to make it bigger than that. Okay, next job is to find a bolt of any description that isn't too big. Isn't always easy. That one will do. Okay, now to see if it'll all fit together. This is just a trial because the next thing I have to do then is drill up through this one to connect the pivot. Come on, get in there. There you go. I'll use a washer on this side actually before I do that. As I say, this is just a trial put together, but if I can get it all as close to how I want it as possible, it just means it's a lot easier. Now, again, I wouldn't have to keep doing this if I had all this, you know, the exact bits designed for this and so on. But these are all bits I found or bent together, or you know what I mean. So it's just a case of trying your best, see what happens. Come on. I suppose the tighter the fit the better, but I'd like to be able to actually get it in. There we go. Now to straighten it all up a bit. I wonder if that will work. There we go. Okay, so that worked actually quite well. I don't want to tighten it too much. Just have a look. Yeah, there's nothing going to get that out of there now. So there we go, we got the first part, and that is definitely working. I'm going to unscrew it again in a sec anyway. The next thing now I need to do is connect this somewhere here. Now there's one major thing I haven't done yet, and I keep putting it off and putting it off, and that is testing these wires. Because I'm making all this effort to incorporate this, and if this blows straight away, then I got to start this part all over again. But I keep putting it off because I haven't got another idea. I haven't come up with anything yet. So if that doesn't work, I don't really know what to do. Okay, I'm not going to be able to incorporate that screw because it's not in the right place. It's not quite in the center. Okay. Now to mark metal, there's many ways of doing it, but I tend to use a CD marker pen, like the ones that you'd write on a CD. Tends to work the best for me, but you can choose any method you like. There we go. Okay, I've punched all the holes. I'm going to drill them all out, and then hopefully this will attach beautifully without any problems at all. Okay, so that's those holes done. So I need to start cutting out this hole here. Okay, there we go so far. I'm going to have to file this out more, but I'm also going to have to file it flat. And the same on this side, because obviously you're not leaving that kind of stuff lying around. So I'm going to take this out now, file it all nicely, make sure it all lines up and fits. I have to make this hole bigger. So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do that first. I'll do all that off screen. Hopefully when I come back, this will be able to fit to here. Okay, so this is where we are now. We've got basically the motor in its casing. We've got the the blades on, and I've used, I can't remember what they're called, but they're basically a circle of metal with some grub screws in it. I genuinely can't remember what they're called, and I did look for them, but I bought them years ago. Also, I've got, now this is all working fine. I had a little bit of trouble, and I had to put a couple of washers in because I haven't got all 4 screws in at the moment. It was actually tightening up on the wires, so it wasn't turning properly. But that is it. That is basically the entire project done, apart from getting it set up and waterproofing it. Now waterproofing, I'm thinking about HDPE, because you'll have, if you watch my videos, you'll have seen that I've done a few on HDPE, and I might see about covering this in a HDPE layer, or putting it in a HDPE bottle and heating it so it shrinks around it. I haven't quite decided yet. I've got to wire this up and test it to see if we burn these out. If I do burn them out, that's fine. I've looked online, I can find an exactly the same sized one, but with a lot thicker wires, which should help us. But so next time I would like to get on with cutting down some of the treadmill to make a like a post for this to go on, and waterproofing it, and then doing some initial tests. Now I've got to apologise quickly. This video should have been out last week. It was done I think 2 days after the other one. However, this bit that I'm saying now got completely corrupted. I don't know how, but this is the first time I've managed to be able to get on to doing it. So hopefully I'll get the next one out a lot quicker than this one, unless I damage somehow any of the files. But I hope you're enjoying it so far, and hope you're as excited as I am to see how this runs and see if it works for a start. But if you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And one thing I'd like to ask everyone who watches my videos, could you please just every now and again just click on one of the adverts? I get I get virtually nothing for any of the stuff I do. This is for you guys to watch. I don't get even enough to cover any of the projects I do. So it'd just be nice to just get a bit of money so I can add that up and do maybe a bigger project at the end of the year or something. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.